Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog in the animal.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in pints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my worst of the worst. My throw him in jail and throw away the key. My boomerang throwing friend Frank. How are you today? You had three titles there.
I did.
Yeah.
I was very overwhelmed by that.
You should have been.
I was quite overwhelmed. I felt very but I'm very honored that you have given me that many titles. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to kill you now, but
no.
Well,
but who's going to close out the show?
Well,
who are you going to talk to?
Mr. J.
The voice is in your head.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Well, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Harpoon Sweet Spot.
Tell me about it. That's new.
It's a new one. I've definitely never tried it before. I think it's new this summer. And it is a golden ale. They describe it as sweet meets complex, or sorry, smooth meets complex. It's got just a little bit of sweetness and just the right amount of hop. It's a pretty easy drinking. I described it to you a minute ago as the kind of thing you could drink while you're playing lawn games.
Yeah, no, it's a great It's a great explanation. I've got Dogfish Head Festina Pêche.
So good.
Puchane.
Yeah, just keep going with that. Just workshop that.
Yeah, I will. I will. It's their job to workshop. It's not mine.
I didn't name the thing.
No, it's already out. Whatever.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, good.
I've kept it in my fridge for like a month now, since the first time we tried it.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I was out with my brother not too long ago when we were looking for beer, and this was the first thing I thought of, and I was like, please God, random store have this, and I haven't seen it. Yeah, I was a little disappointed. Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of it. They didn't have a great beer selection at the place we were at, so it's okay.
Yeah. Well, good beers all around. I'm happy with our choices.
Yeah. No, me too.
Did you see any movies recently?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw Captain Fantastic, which was fantastic. It was Viggo Mortensen, and he's like, I'm with my kids and we're living in the wild. And it was really good. I highly recommend it. Yep. And awesome. I saw Hunt for the Wilder People with Sam Neill, Taika Waititi's movie.
Right.
Which was also really good. I highly recommend that. And that's about it.
That's it. That's all you saw.
Nope, just kidding. I saw Suicide Squad.
Oh, I saw that too.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Crazy.
Yeah. So let's talk about Captain Fantastic.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
A movie I would hand a kid
that's
as
the one
a
with
joke
George Clooney.
if I wanted him to think it was. No, that's Fantastic Fox.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I was like, as soon as I said Fantastic, I was like, that's not
the animated one with George Clooney, and he's a fox, and that's Captain Fantastic.
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly.
Or is that the one that Brie Larson's going to be in?
No, that's Captain Marvel. She is the captain now.
Oh, she's the captain.
Yeah. No, Captain. We're not gonna talk about Captain Fantastic.
No, we're not.
No, I do recommend that people watch it.
All right,
it was
awesome.
it was really good.
Good. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. If you want a tour de force performance by Viggo Mortensen, and it's not a comedy. It's kind of billed as a comedy, but it's not. Kind of like Suicide Squad. It's kind of billed as a comedy.
So
it's not really.
What's your? Now it's been a few days. We actually talked about this. We both saw it coincidentally at the same time.
We did in different places. And I've seen it twice since then.
Okay, so you've seen it 3 times total.
Yep.
Okay, I've only seen it the once, but I've done a whole lot of reading, reviews and different pieces and stuff. And I've done a lot of thinking about it. Being a few days removed from it now, from the first time anyway.
Yeah.
What you probably saw it last night, didn't you?
Yesterday afternoon. Yeah. So I saw it on Thursday.
Yeah.
And then on Friday, my brother was like, hey, you want to go see it? And I wasn't going to tell him no, because we never really hang out. So like when he asks you to do something, like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Yeah. And then, but I had already previously had plans to see it a second time with another friend of mine. So that became my third one. And so I'm good for it right now, though I would watch it again. That's my.
What's your sort of rating, like out of 10?
Out of 10?
Or 5. Your scale of choice. 4 or 5, whatever.
Out of 10, 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Well, yeah, after that, not my initial viewing of it maybe wouldn't have been 8 out of 10.
It sounded like you were the first time. It sounded like I liked it more than you did.
Yeah, my initial review of the movie to people was it's just a movie, which I think sounds more negative than I mean it. I did to reinvest. What I meant by that is like it doesn't. Like there are a lot of movies that come out that are just movies. Doesn't mean they're bad. No. They're just not Citizen Kane's or Gone with the Winds or The Gladiators or the Spotlights of the world. They're just movies and they can be really enjoyable, but they don't change cinema forever. Right. You know what I mean? And that this is, to me, I still think one of those movies. It doesn't change, and it doesn't change the genre. It doesn't necessarily add too much to it. But it was a lot of fun. Like the movie's fun. It has its problems, but it's a good time. Story's basic. And that's I think the story is the weak point, but I think the cast is really strong.
Agreed.
It's well acted. A lot of one-note characters are given depth because of the star power that they bring to it and the charisma. But so I'd give it an 8 out of 10. After 3 viewings, I like it a little bit more every time I watch it. Because you go in with expectations at the same time.
Of course.
Right? You expect something, and years we were talking about, like we knew, like we thought like, oh, if the Joker's in it, then, maybe it's going to deal with the Robin suit in the cave.
Right.
And, and it's going to do this.
All the speculation.
Right.
Theories.
And maybe Scott Eastwood is playing somebody important. Sure. Turns out he's not. Like all of these things you bring into the movie with you. Right. And so on the second and third viewings, I was able to kind of watch it for what it actually was. Which was
interesting.
Yeah. So how about you?
I would probably give it a solid 7.
A solid 7.
A solid 7. So that's interesting because when we first talked about it, you seemed to like it more than I did.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, I seemed to like it more than you did.
I was here. I am with you,
and here I am rating it lower than you now. But I would give it a solid 7, and I mean that in like a good. It was a good 3/4.
There's nothing wrong with a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean like it was a.
I mean, it's nothing you're going to put on the refrigerator, but still, yeah.
But it's something that I really enjoyed, and I probably would see it again. Actually, I thought it was fun. It was a fun movie. Like,
it's fun.
It's something I would watch. The same. I mean, I think it was better than, say, Green Lantern. It's certainly better than Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All of the Fantastic Fours.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, specifically last year's Fantastic Four.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
But yeah, definitely better than the other ones too.
Yeah.
It was a better than average.
It's better than average
superhero.
Yeah,
film. Maybe not as. I've been comparing it to Ant-Man.
I
think actually you may have been.
I think I made that connection first. Yeah. Like to me, Ant-Man is also just a movie.
Yeah, I think Ant-Man might be a little better than this.
Or I enjoyed it better. I don't know if this. I don't know if the story is necessarily any better. But I think Suicide Squad takes itself a little more seriously than Ant-Man does. And for when a story is basic or weak, like not taking yourself seriously, kind of like elevates the material.
Yeah.
Like Deadpool's a good example of that because Deadpool is a super basic story,
very,
but it doesn't. I mean, it goes beyond not taking itself seriously. So like it elevates the material that way. Whereas this movie, it's got humor, but it's still a serious world.
Still a serious thing. Yeah. I think it's interesting. So there's been a lot of talk, especially in the last few days, about how the movie, David Ayer had his cut of the movie,
right,
and then the group that came in and did the trailer that was Bohemian Rhapsody,
right,
did that trailer. Like they brought them into the trailer, and the response to that trailer was so strong, and so positive that they came in and had that same group recut the movie,
right,
more in that vein, that light, a little brighter, a little. I think that's more comical. Did some reshoots.
Well, as much as David Ayer said those reshoots were for more action, I had that in mind when I was watching the movie, and I was like, No. There's no extra action in this movie.
I don't think so.
I think a lot of those reshoots. I went back and watched the 3 original trailers.
Yeah.
Like the Comic-Con one and then the 2 other ones. That whole dinner sequence with Amanda Waller explaining the Suicide Squad, the Task Force X, completely different than what was presented in the original film. So spoilers from here on out, because I want to talk about the final credit scene at the same time, the end credit scene.
Okay,
so,
sure.
So that scene, like this is what I want to do, and and here's this book, and let me tally through all these different characters and blah blah blah. Totally different presentation than how it is in the trailer. They're in a different restaurant, even.
Oh, so that's totally
like, it's a reshot, because the restaurant that she's in with Bruce Wayne in the mid credits scene, that's the restaurant they were in, and that's in the Comic-Con trailer.
Oh, okay,
but it's not even remotely close. She's in a different, like, in the movie she's seated at a table and there's like the whole restaurant open behind her, but in the original footage she's just at a table with a wall behind her, like sitting exactly where she was for where Bruce Wayne is. So it's, the dialogue's different, how she can control them, like what she says it's like it's all shifted. And so, because the movie starts with an introduction to Deadshot and Harley, right? And then it goes to Amanda Waller, who reintroduces those characters. So automatically you're at a, this section is new compared to what you originally had in mind.
Sure.
Harley's first interaction with Amanda Waller, like, are you the devil? It's a kind of a somber scene. She's arguably the most subdued in that sequence than she is anywhere else.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like her accent isn't even there. It's like they went back into it and went, you need to add the accent.
Let's give you some coaching and redo
well, it's not that she doesn't need. I don't think she needed accent coaching, because she had a Brooklyn accent in Wolf of Wall Street. I think she was trying to avoid sounding like that character, but without the accent, you lose a little bit of what Harley is. It's kind of like
a huge part of the character.
It's a huge part of the character. So there was quite a shift in stuff. Yeah, but I thought the movie could have benefited, I think, from, how Deadpool, a lot of the movie, the sequences on the bridge, like there's a big action sequence on the bridge, but it cuts up a lot of that to go backward. This movie could have benefited from something like that, where they kind of like maybe start in the middle of the story, start in the middle of midway, and catch you up. Because there's a scene where like Harley looks down the flight of stairs, says, I really need to work on my cardio, and she looks down the flight of stairs, and it flashes to her toxic bath before she becomes Harley Quinn. The movie could have benefited from things like that, with all the characters kind of going back and like doing these things. Because when they get to Midway City, and it's like all this, all this stuff, I think it kind of, the pace kind of just goes, boom, and now we're kind of here for a while.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think that it did have some pacing issues. I went in to the movie a little bit biased based on what I had read from the first, when the embargoes were lifted a few days before it was released. And so I read some of the reviews. I tried not to read too much of the spoilery stuff. I caught a little bit, but nothing really too serious.
Yeah.
But I read that the pacing was weird. The flashbacks were kind of gave people whiplash.
I didn't find that.
I didn't agree with that.
Yeah, I didn't
agree with that.
I did not agree with that.
That wasn't where I found the pacing to be odd. Where I found the pacing to be odd was more in the grand scheme of the story.
Yeah, like
where we go from Act 1 to Act 2 to Act 3.
It's taking this amount of time, and where are they, and like stuff like that is weird pacing.
And then like, okay, now we're sitting in this bar for a little bit, and we're going to hear about Diablo's story, and like that was sort of like we screeched to a halt for that part of the movie, and then we kind of ramp back up, into hyperdrive after that. So that's where I found some of the pacing to be a little bit like, okay, why did we hit traffic?
Yeah, right. Yeah. The city's evacuated. Why is there traffic?
Yeah, exactly. But I didn't agree with a lot of the criticisms that I saw about the flashbacks. I didn't think that they were hard, confusing, or they slowed things down too much. I really liked the little dossiers that came up every time we were introduced.
Those were really cool.
Those were really cool.
Yeah,
and felt very much like they were added on later.
Right, that felt like I'm telling you because that's that whole sense. That's a reshoot.
Yeah,
that's a reshoot.
That's part of. I think that might be from when the I can't remember the name of the company that did the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer.
Yeah.
When they were brought in, I feel like that was something they may have added.
Yeah,
be like, we need to like do something funny and like brighten it up here. So like, let's pause here and put these.
Not that the some of their introduction stories, like the Deadshot story, was not a reshoot because because
it was probably
like,
there.
Deadshot jumping off the building was in the Comic-Con footage, which was before the reshoot.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So there you go. So we know it was there. But yeah, so I'm sure all the origins were there.
Mm-hmm.
But just the way they treated them, the way that stuff they did in post, in the edit, definitely feels like that was something that maybe in response to Batman v Superman, maybe just in response to how well those trailers were received, but definitely something that was added later and for the better that made the film better in my opinion and more fun. It was fun. It was fun action. Harley, I thought that Margot Robbie and Will Smith stole every scene they were in.
I agree. I think even Will Smith stole the scenes over Margot Robbie, actually.
And I did not expect that.
Yeah.
I expected her from what I saw in the trailer. I thought she stole the trailers. Like, I was more excited about her than anything else.
Yeah.
Maybe that's partly because I'm a heterosexual male, but really,
I am too. But I thought Will Smith stole everything.
Well, Will Smith stole the movie for me, though.
Yeah.
Like he was the thing I was most impressed. I heard Kevin Smith say this, and it really rung true for me. You don't expect Will Smith to be so good in a ensemble piece and be a good team player in an ensemble piece.
Yeah.
And yet he really, really was.
I don't think it has to do with him not being a good team player in an ensemble piece, but Will Smith has a lot of star power behind him.
That's what I mean, though, yeah.
Yeah, because if you watch anything with him, he is just a delight of a human being.
Yeah.
He just seems an authentically nice person, despite how weird some of his children may be. And, like whatever. But in that family unit, I think he really reigns supreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed pretty much everything I've seen him in, but I guess I didn't see enough of him in the trailers to really form an opinion of what I thought he would be like.
Yeah.
So I was really, really happy with how it turned out.
To me, he was very much Floyd Lawton. He was very much Deadshot.
He really was.
Yeah. His own little twist on the character, but I watched the movie and I was like, that's what Deadshot would do. That's what he would say. That's how he would react to everybody. But let's break down the characters, I think, because there's a lot of them. So let's go through them. So there's Deadshot. And he kills people.
He does.
And he is I don't need to explain characters, but you know what I mean. I really liked it. I actually bought the pop of him without the mask on, thinking, you know what, I've seen enough of the trailers to think I think I'm gonna like Will Smith in this movie a lot, and I think I wanna like him without the mask. Even though I hate it when people take off their masks in movies.
Didn't bother me that much in this movie.
First time I've ever not been bothered by that, because he has so much charisma that
I barely noticed it. There was that one point where he puts on the mask,
and it's almost like, oh, you're wearing your mask.
Which they made a point of being like, whenever I put on the mask, someone dies. Like they made that thing.
Yep.
So like they almost justified him not wearing it. And then when he did put it on, and he and Harley exchanged a look.
Yep.
I was like, oh, he's putting on the mask. Ooh. Like it made it more special.
Yes, I agree.
So I enjoyed that.
I agree. There's definitely more to his story that got cut from the film, because he has like that, like I am the way the light, or I'm like the way on his thing,
his neck,
and it's on his gun, and none of that is touched on at all. And he tells the guy, I can't remember his name, he says, I'm going to rain on you like the Holy Ghost.
Oh yeah,
and, like it's just going to be like a chapter in the Bible, and like all this stuff is kind of like touched on, but nobody ever really, like, it's there, but I feel like that was some of those things that got cut, that left on the cutting room floor. We talked about Harley a little bit, but she did a great job.
Fantastic job. Fantastic job. I love we got a little bit of a peek at the
original costume. Yep. And as soon as I saw it, I went, "That's great. Never show that to me again."
Yeah, exactly. Like that's
because oh boy, does that not work on the big screen?
Does not work on the big screen, but they found a really good way to kind of work it in there.
Yep.
Quickly. Just
there it is.
Brief flash,
little
fan service.
Yep. And for the most part, a lot of what I've seen a whole lot of people say is, "Thank you for showing me that. I really appreciate it.
Now put it away."
Now put it away, because good Lord, does that not work on the screen?
Does not work.
No, it doesn't.
Looks like a onesie.
It does. And I knew there are ways of like doing that costume and I think making it work a little better.
Yeah.
But like that, it just like the classic Bruce Timm, Paul Dini. It was really cool to see it. It does not work.
I'm good.
I'm fine.
I'm good.
Never show that to me again. Yeah. Thank you for making the Alex Ross painting come to life.
Exactly.
I'm fine with it now.
That's it.
Yeah, she was great. Let's talk about the Joker since we're talking about Harley.
Yes.
Did you hear about that guy that's suing Warner Brothers because he drove, I quote, 300 miles from Scotland to London to watch this movie just for the Joker scenes that were advertised, and not all of them were shown. And by that,
I'm sorry, you can't say
and by that, by advertised, he means Joker punching the roof of his car, and knocking his head up against the little door of his car, and then slapping the guy's face and saying, "I can't wait to show you my toys." Those are the three things. And the grenade and like the bye-bye. Yeah.
There's also I'm not going to kill you. I'm just going to
hurt you really, really bad. He says something akin to that, though. And like that, but everything else was there.
Yep.
That was shown in the trailers.
I did read that there's probably 10 to 12 minutes of Joker that were cut.
A lot of it, apparently, is just the Harley backstory stuff.
Okay.
And there's a couple of things I heard. One is that it detracted too much from the main plot of the movie. Like, she got too much story. Like, I think Margot Robbie said that like they got really into it, and David Ayer shot a lot of stuff, but a lot of it was either experimented or it didn't flow well or whatever. So I wish I would like to see it, but I don't necessarily need it as part of the film.
All right.
And then the next is their original cut of their relationship was more comic accurate, where he's an abusive boyfriend, and she's still attached to him.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
The way they treated this relationship was different than I've seen. I loved it. So it was like he
loves her.
Loves her.
Like, his whole plot in this movie is
to save her.
I love my girlfriend and I'm going to save her, which is really horribly sick and romantic all at the same time.
Yeah, like it was. I'm used to. Like in the animated series and stuff,
he would hit her. He would slap her around.
Doesn't care about her.
No,
like he only cares about her when he needs her.
There's an episode of the animated series where she's like, "Enough of you, I don't care," and she goes and hangs out with Ivy, and then like he gets distraught because he realizes how much he needs her. That's the only real episode where like it works in reverse. But every other time is like
it's always like him slapping her around, him like sending her out on to do things.
There's an episode of the series where he's gonna like unleash a nuclear bomb on Gotham, and she was gonna die.
He doesn't care.
No, he doesn't.
It's just collateral damage. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
so this was a different take,
right? And so I guess a lot of that Joker footage was the not Joker in love thing. So they kind of, I think, retooled it to give us a new version of it. And I really like. We've never seen the Joker in love before, really.
No, it's true.
Certainly on the screen, but really anywhere. He tolerates her, and he likes the idea of Harley, I think, and he likes what she can do for him.
He likes having someone who adores him.
Yes,
but it doesn't have to be
not that, and it doesn't mean that it's love either.
Right.
But like
having someone who like serve him and who's devoted to him in some way.
Yeah, but this was 100%. This was 100% Joker in love.
Yeah,
and people were down on some of this relationship, right? Because he tries to get, like, he says he gives her to Common, and stuff like that. Oh yeah, she's yours now, but. I read that as like Joker and Harley are so in sync with one another. Like, his intention was always to kill Common, and she knows that, and
he was just provoking him.
They play this game together, and I think it's easy to forget that these are not well people. Like, you're not supposed to emulate this relationship. You're not supposed to be like rooting for them, really.
Right.
My friend, one of my friends who I saw it with, when that scene comes and she's like, talking to Enchantress, she's like, "I lost my pudding, but you can bring him back, right?"
Yeah.
And he was like, I cried a little. He said that was probably the saddest thing I've ever seen. And it was really sad. She really sold it. Yeah.
She totally did.
Yeah.
She knocked it out of the park. There's so much I could talk about her and Will Smith for this whole episode.
Yeah, I think so too. So let's move on to the rest of the characters. Let's talk Captain Boomerang, who they did call Captain Boomerang, which I didn't think they were going to. I thought they were just going to have Captain on the shirt
and just call him Boomerang,
call it a day. But nope, full on Captain Boomerang.
They went for it.
Yeah,
and why not? It worked.
Yeah, a lot of his stuff got left on the cutting room floor apparently too, because Captain Boomerang is kind of like sexist and racist and like all this stuff, and they kind of
hard sell.
Yeah, they cut a lot of that for when the movie was going to be darker than the one that was released. That Comic-Con footage is dark. Like, it's not a happy movie. It's not a happy place to live. No. And then so this whole movie kind of got retooled with some bright colors and some not. And
did you see even just the logos from the trailers, how progressively brighter they got over the last year?
Yeah.
Have you seen
Yeah.
like that back like side by side comparison?
Yeah,
it was like black, and the last one was like full on neon colors.
Even the beginning of this movie, it's tons of color. I saw you sent me that tweet where it's like, I just saw the third part of these movies: Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, Suicide Squad,
Yeah, it's so
and it's just aesthetically,
it's a very similar aesthetic.
it's and now there's not neon in the movie.
No, not
per
really,
se,
except for
but
those overlays with like dossiers.
Right,
except
exactly.
For that.
That's but I mean, like in Schumacher's world,
Yeah.
that neon was part of the
would've been
landscape.
everywhere,
Yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't post, but so I liked how they added it.
Yes,
It was fun. It's different.
Agreed. It was
yeah,
fun.
it's just part of the, like you said, it's part of the dossier. It's all
Yeah.
good. I like Jai Courtney. I don't think he's not a great actor.
I agree with you, but actually, this is my favorite performance.
I really
of his.
liked him in this movie. I think he really he was able to use his real accent, which I think always
true.
usually helps actors a lot. When they can speak like they normally speak. But I love that. It's like I like you were caught robbing a bank. I was not. Yeah.
It showed.
Yeah.
It showed it like 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah. Was not. Yeah. I liked a lot of that. Well, and he cuts and runs out of the bar. He's like, your flag's like, you're free to go. And he just like, he
just
bolts.
runs.
He's like, I'm out. Yeah. I like that he tricks Slipknot, the most
Yes.
useless DC character ever,
Yes.
into cutting and running to make sure that bomb was real or not. Like, there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah. I guess I wasn't surprised because Slipknot wasn't in a whole lot of the promotional footage or any of that. But
we all knew he was going to be the one to get his
Yeah.
head blown off. Like, if you just know a little bit of
Yeah.
you got to have somebody there for that. But he doesn't have a dossier.
right.
If you notice,
I didn't notice that. But
everybody on the team gets something
except
him. But then when they're in that meeting when Enchantress does the cool hand flip thing, which was
Yes,
super
so
cool. He's got his picture on the wall with the rest of the team, and I was like, "But you didn't have a thing. You're the dead
the
man.
one.
You the dead man."
That's so funny. Poor R.I.P. Slipknot.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
Apparently, Adam Beach is a very nice man, from what I've heard
I'm
and
sure
seen.
he is.
But
I'm sure he is.
yeah, useless character.
Yeah.
But that's what was needed.
But you know what? He served his purpose.
yeah, right, exactly.
To show us that the bombs were real.
The bombs were real.
Stakes were real.
I actually would have liked to have seen that at a different angle than we saw. It was kind of hidden, and so if you didn't know,
that was probably
heads up
was
ratings.
it PG-13
yeah,
or R?
This is definitely PG-13.
Yeah. So if they had shown more of it, it probably would have gone R.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Good point. Katana.
Character I was not familiar with.
Okay.
Yeah. So the whole like her husband's soul is in her sword. I was like, really?
Yeah, that's the
really.
thing. Yeah.
And but then I kind of bought it by the end. I was like, okay,
It's really sad when she talks to him, and Karen Fukuhara's first movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
She was cool. She was a little underused, I felt.
I would agree with that. A little
Yeah.
underused. Rick Flag's kind of right hand lady.
Yeah.
And then, but underutilized a
Yeah.
little bit. But that's okay. Maybe more to come. I really liked her little flashback sequence. Just like I was busy and you're just like jumping down the street, taking names with a sword. I liked that.
That is cool.
Speaking of Rick Flag.
Rick Flag.
Go ahead.
Kind of a Met performance.
See, that's so funny because I don't know what I was expecting. Truly, don't know what I was expecting. But I really liked him in this movie.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I was kind of underwhelmed. With
Yeah, I liked his performance. He sold it for me. I thought he was the guy to keep them in line. And
All right.
yeah, I don't know what it is because Rick Flag is a character that I could usually care less about. It's not like, oh, Rick Flag's going to be in this movie. I can't wait to watch it. And no, but maybe because I wasn't expecting anything from it.
Yeah, I guess.
He came out of nowhere for me.
To me, he was just very much like, if I didn't know that Rick Flag is a major DC Comics character,
You would have thought he was made up.
I would have thought that it was just like, oh, this is just the character they have there to move things along. Like, he's a straight man.
Oh, yeah.
To all of their
He is the straight man.
comedic, yeah.
Technically, to their,
but he was nothing special. He was nothing special.
Oh, yeah. I think like in terms of like cool character moments, he didn't have one.
He had none.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I thought as the straight man, like he did a good job, and I really liked his back and forth with Deadshot because he has a little arc where he comes to this full understanding of maybe this was a good idea.
Yeah.
This is needed.
Yeah.
Because by the he gets right up in their face right away, and then by the end of the movie, he's the one that tells the U.S. Marshals not to put Deadshot in cuffs.
Right.
When his daughter's that's because beginning of the movie, he'd been like, nope, take him
away.
Yeah.
Drag him off.
He has a really nice arc, and I like that. Was supposed to be Tom Hardy.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
I'd be curious to see how that would have gone down.
I know.
But I'm glad it's Joel Kinnaman, actually. I'm fine with that. His head is very small for the rest of his body. He has very large shoulders.
He does have
large, very broad shoulders.
I liked him better on House of Cards.
Yes. Did you know that, I think it was General, I assume it's the General McKinnon, whatever it is, that guy sitting at the table?
The one that Enchantress goes over to and he's like, don't touch me.
No, not that guy. What makes you think you can control him?
Oh,
that
okay,
guy.
yeah.
He played Rick Flag on Smallville.
Cool.
You're welcome. I almost texted that to you when I figured it out, and I saved it for I wanted to be the person. I wanted to see it in person. You gotta look it up now. You're welcome.
Thank you for saving that for me.
You are very welcome.
I very much appreciate that.
Somebody likes Rick Flag a little bit more now.
That's him?
Yeah. He had the orange shirt on and the.
I don't remember him being in this movie. I remember this guy. I don't remember him being in the movie, but I believe you.
Yeah, there's three of them there's two guys and Amanda Waller at the table.
Yeah.
And one's in the suit, one's in the uniform, and then there's Amanda Waller. And
I don't remember
he's the one that he's the one
okay.
that they're telling the dossier to, basically. Yeah.
Huh.
Cool, right?
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Very cool.
All right. Happy to help.
Thank you for that.
Let's get Killer Croc. Let's keep going.
Killer Croc. Didn't have much to do till the very end.
I would agree. I think Adewale had a really hard time talking with those teeth in his mouth.
Yep.
Like so much so I maybe could have re-recorded
his stuff was all ADR.
Yeah.
Like all his lines were ADR.
Yeah,
no doubt.
They had to have been.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the makeup was really cool. It was like gross even looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very I mean, I'm glad that it was makeup and not CG.
Yeah, me too. Because it was supposed to be King Shark originally.
Yeah, I know.
And David Ayer was like, "Yeah, I don't want to do CG."
Oh, was it
David Ayer? He was like, "I don't want to do the CG. Let's do Croc." Yeah,
I kind of like that because I had read that it was because King Shark has been in Flash that they decided not to put him in the movies.
No, it was
But I'm glad. I'm glad that's the reason. I respect that more than just like, no, we're still
TV
not putting them in both.
No,
shows.
David Ayer wanted to keep it CG at little CG as possible.
Good. Yeah.
So
that does jive with other things I've heard. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Nice.
Did I run out of squad members? No, El Diablo. It was a nice story. He did a nice job. It's not a character I have really great affinity for. I was surprised that he died, though my friend turned to me and said he dies in the comics, and I was like, oh, well, didn't know that.
Didn't know that.
Okie dokie. But it was cool. He's fine. He did a nice job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the pacing of his story is a little rough, right? Because it's like,
no, man, I'm not going to do anything.
I'm not doing anything. I'm staying away. I'm staying away from everything. Don't leave me alone. I'm not going to do anything. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm a fire monster.
Yeah.
I can be 20 feet tall.
Well, there's a hint of it. Because when he's talking to Boomerang, he's like, "No, man, I'm not that guy anymore." And he does a little hand wave, and you can see the monster in the flame.
I didn't see that. I just saw the word "bye."
No, not that. That's when he's talking to Amanda Waller and Flag.
Oh, you're right.
And, because Boomerang's like, "Woo, fire, whoo." When he waves.
Now I remember what you're talking about.
When he waves his, I'm not that guy anymore, and he waves his hand, and that demon is right there. But that demon that possesses him is amongst the same family as Enchantress and Incubus, her brother.
That was not clear at all.
Yeah.
What it was. I mean, I just thought that was like what his power.
I didn't really get it until I saw the aesthetic, and I noticed that like they spoke the same language when he was the fire demon. And I was, it's all the same thing. It's really subtle, and that's why I enjoyed watching it on these redos, because that's not the thing. I didn't pick up on any of that the first time. We didn't really talk about Joker, his performance, really.
No. Well, for such a short a period of time, it was hard to really.
I don't think you can't rank him.
It was hard to judge his performance. It was a good performance, but like it was so short that it's like, dude, you like sent rats to your castmates for that performance, like for that amount of time you were in the movie.
He was on set for 6 months, so when he says there's scenes cut, there's a lot of stuff not there.
Okay.
Like that whole scene, like in the trailer where like half his face is kind of charred and he's holding a grenade. He's like, bye-bye. That's allegedly a whole confrontation with the squad that is not in the movie. Cause I think it would ruin his breaking into Belle Rev with Harley at the end. Like if she thinks he's dead, it ruins that surprise, which I would assume. So he was on set for a lot of the time with them, and so I think there's a really good amount of stuff that's not.
So maybe more than the rumored 10 or 12 minutes. 10
or 12 minutes is still a good chunk of time.
It is, but it doesn't seem like. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, who's to say?
Who's to say?
We'll probably see it as a DVD bonus feature or
something like that. But I liked his performance. It grew on me as I watched more of it every time. Because he's the C plot, really, and he doesn't. It's hard to gauge what kind of Joker he is because he has no there's no master plan, there's no evil anything. It's just like I want to get Harley back,
right?
So I'm in this helicopter now. You know what I mean? So it's so very little. It's really not enough to judge. But I liked it. I want to see more of it.
Me too.
Enough that I want to see more of it.
I'm excited to see it in a Batman movie. Waller.
She was great. And I knew she would be because it's Viola Davis.
Viola Davis was fantastic.
Yeah.
The character was evil.
She was evil.
That's was
gangsta.
Bad.
Yeah.
She was, she was everything that Amanda Waller should be.
Yep.
I didn't really feel that shooting those agents in the room was earned.
I don't think she was evil enough to that point for you to see it coming, though. She says,
they didn't have the clearance.
They didn't have the clearance, and that was that. But I don't. They don't have a reaction shot to them seeing the squad and putting it together before she kills them. She just kills them.
Yeah.
And it feels almost out of the blue.
It does.
I thought that the first time I watched it too. I think it was missing them going, oh my God, like this, and then she would need to kill them, I feel.
Yeah.
But I mean, forgetting that the Suicide Squad is really is highest level priority kind, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I did enjoy when she comes out at the end after the big battle and Will Smith and Deadshot's like, how are you not dead?
Yeah. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was so
yeah. And I was like, that's Amanda Waller for you.
That's her.
Her scene with Bruce Wayne at the end, I liked. It maybe was a little redundant because Batman has those little files, those little emails that he has,
Yeah.
A little redundant, but I liked that. Keeping up with she knows who he is and he knows exactly what she's up to, and that's very comic.
You know what yes, it very much was. You know what that struck me as 5 years ago or 7 years ago before Iron Man, or 8 years, whatever it is. God, it's been so long. Before Iron Man, that would have been the coolest freaking thing ever. We would have flipped out, oh my God, did you say to the end? Did you see Amanda Waller knows he's Batman? Oh my God. That would have been the Nick Fury coming in and saying, I am Iron Man. It would have been that.
It's basically a combination of that scene and the scene from Incredible Hulk with Tony Stark comes in the bar. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
Those two scenes, exactly what I thought.
Exactly what that is.
Before the MCU happened, this would have been the biggest freaking deal in the world.
Yeah.
And
now it's old hash.
And now it's fine. It's good. But it's not,
one would say almost unnecessary.
I wouldn't go that far. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good there.
Yeah.
And I've been sort of missing mid-credits or end-credit scenes from DC movies.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm glad that they went for it.
I'm glad that they were just like, you know what? Everyone wants something. Let's just do
it. Man.
It's just a fun little thing.
Agreed.
I did kind of wish. I knew they would never do it, but because this scene doesn't really add anything to the thing because she gives them the file on potential Justice League members, metahumans, whatever, but he already has information on those people already because of those Lex Luthor files, so it feels a little redundant. So I really would have loved just a redo shot of the scene from Justice League Unlimited where she's taking a shower and Batman hands her the towel through the thing. She takes it and opens the thing and she's like, we need to talk.
Yeah.
I would have.
It's a good scene. I forgot about that.
I would have loved that. Just a reshot. It would have been
actually really.
It would have been awesome.
Yeah, that would have played really well.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Speaking of Batman, he has a couple of little things to do.
Some good moments.
Arguably, much more Batman than he was in Batman v Superman.
Much more.
He was classic Batman. He kind of swoops down behind Deadshot, which was awesome. I loved it. That was my. It reminded me of 89 Batman when he swoops down with the cape and like kicks the gun out of Jack Napier's hand and stuff like that. I love that, but he's like, I don't want to do this in front of your daughter.
Yeah,
stuff like that. And then instead of like punching him into submission, he takes out handcuffs and is like, I'm going to leave you for the police. Right. And that's all the way Batman. Batman of the Batman v Superman, Joker and Harley would have gone over the water and he would have clapped his hands together and went, well, I'm going home. I don't have to save you. Right. Even Christian Bale's Batman would have been like, good riddance.
Exactly.
Good riddance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, probably thousands of people died in this movie because of Enchantress.
Yeah.
But at least you cannot even argue that any superheroes were in any way involved in anyone dying in this movie.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
In no way.
They were very heroic.
Batman's death count was 0 in this movie for the first time in a long time. A long time. And I mean, because he dives in to save Joker's gone, he dives in to save Harley, which is also very classic Batman, Classic Batman.
It's like he will always save Harley before he saves Joker.
Yeah.
Always. It's like, well, all right, this is
the more innocent person
this
first.
This is a better idea.
Yeah.
And then, but I mean, like, she's not breathing, she's not pulse, she's not breathing, so he tries to resuscitate her and all, like, that's being a hero, despite her being accomplice to the murder of Robin.
Correct. Which we found out.
Yes, which is the little tag at the bottom.
So on her dossier, when it flashed, I saw something Robin, but it was gone before I could read it.
It was so fast.
Yeah. So I missed it. And it was, if you missed it, it didn't matter, right?
Right.
But I saw the word Robin there, and I was like, what? She's related to Robin? What about Robin?
Right.
And then you saw it the second or third time, and you were like, it said accomplice. And I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I feel satisfied.
Accomplice to the murder of Robin. Very cool.
That's super interesting. And then he still saved her.
Yep.
And then him punching her in the face was also
that was great. That was super Batman. I loved it. Did you know Margot Robbie learned how to hold her breath for 5 minutes for that scene?
Yeah,
that's nuts.
I know,
that's nuts.
And she says once you know how to do it, it's actually really easy.
She's like a super cool party trick. Yeah,
and her stunt double can do it for 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, and she's like, I need another session. She's like, no,
you're fine.
Five minutes is fine.
Right. The whole scene's a minute and a half. You're good.
You're good. We get a look at Arkham Asylum in the DC Extended Universe, and it looks like Arkham Asylum. It looks very cool.
Yeah.
Which, some things like that I don't think of, and I go, whoa, Arkham, that's fun.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I mean, that means little to a lot, the majority of the movie audiences.
But to people who are, it's a comic book movie, and it draws a comic book audience, so I'm sure a lot of people got it.
Well, go ahead. What were we going to say?
Bell Rev, too, has a comic book connection.
It's in New Orleans. It's in the middle of nowhere. It has a landing strip, which I never thought about before.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The first time I ever heard, I'd read Belle Reeve in comics, but the first time I ever heard it talked about was on Smallville, and they pronounced it Belle Reeve.
Yeah, I always thought it was Belle Reeve, too.
I always say Belle Reeve, but so it's just, but I've heard Belle Reeve now a few different places, including this movie, so.
Yeah. It's fine. It's like one of those things, like, sometimes it's weird, though, because sometimes movies don't pronounce them correctly.
That's
right?
True.
Because
Ra's al Ghul.
it's not Ra's al Ghul, it's Ra's al Ghul, but the movie said Raz, and it bothers me. But that's just how it is. Yeah. It's not Bane, it's Báné, and nobody gets it.
It's not Bane, it's Báné. Like Beyonce,
Yeah, just one word. Báné. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that fun. To round out the rest of the squad, there's also Enchantress, who's not a member of the squad. She's turns out to be the villain of the story.
Yeah,
I could have done without.
Pretty bad villain, I gotta say. Pretty bad villain. Pretty poorly done. Pretty uninteresting.
Well, at least you can say what you want about the DC movies, whether you like them or not. At least the villains are interesting.
Usually.
Zod was really interesting. And even whether you liked Lex Luthor or not, at least it was interesting to watch. Enchantress was not. It was boring. It was boring.
I mean, I felt like I was watching some really boring, low budget sci-fi movie. Not that it looked high budget, but just the acting was just.
Cara Delevingne's a pretty good actress too, so it kind of like her voice was
over
weird.
The top,
her voice, and then like her voice was weird.
And the Dothraki was weird,
and then no, with the like her dialogue was corny, like "come out of the shadows, I won't bite," like
stuff.
So it's just like, you know what it is. The Suicide Squad, also their mission was to save Amanda Waller, not to stop Enchantress. Like there was literally no plan to stop her.
No, once Waller was safe, they were like,
all right, let's get out of here. Like, does anybody have a plan to stop her, or are you just going to let this happen? Just like that was weird.
That was weird.
But Suicide Squad maybe works best when it's like a mythical threat. Felt weird. Like comparatively to what they are,
it should have been something a little more concrete. But this was again, like I said, this was at least. I'm trying to look on the bright side. It was at least something where it was clearly like this mythical threat, and not like you can't even try to argue that like a hero did anything wrong in this movie.
Not one hero did one thing wrong in this movie. And every character was the character. I didn't leave and think like nobody was true to their character in any way, shape, or form.
John Ostrander wrote a blog post.
The John F. Ostrander building.
The building. I noticed that. I noticed the first time. I was like, that's fun. But John Ostrander really enjoyed it.
I saw his post.
He really enjoyed it.
He said the movie's not without its faults.
Yeah.
But he said, it got what it was.
It got what it was, and he said, I wrote these characters a long time ago, and was it just like what I wrote? Absolutely not. But neither were other comic book runs that came after mine. Like it's not. That's not. You shouldn't be judging on like whether or not it was just like what you remember reading. Like judging on whether it was good or not, whether it was enjoyable or not whether it was the same as what you remember reading. Which I really thought was a very
it was very nice.
Well worded post, and I agreed with what he had to say.
Yeah. Well, the box office agrees with him too.
It's the number one movie in America right now.
It made on Monday $13 million on Monday, which is absurd for a Monday. Because I saw it on Monday at 11:30 because I'm still on vacation.
Yeah.
And the theater was packed. Like. There was
morning at 11:30.
11:30 in the morning.
Wow.
No, 11. 11.
Whatever
it was. You couldn't get a seat. Like we're lucky we bought the tickets the day before because it was sold out.
And that's after like it has like a 30 or 27 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Right. Exactly. But it's got like a 72, 73% by the users, and I mean like critics don't always match to this. Critics look for material that elevates the genre, and if it doesn't elevate, they smash it to pieces. And
to be fair, in this case, there are a lot of people. Same thing happened with Ghostbusters. People who like DC are
giving it 5 stars.
Yeah. Just because they want it to do well. The same way with Ghostbusters, they were giving it 0 stars.
One of my best friends did that. I am well aware.
So bad.
Yeah.
Without seeing it. Just because they wanted it to fail. So they rated it 0 stars without ever having seen it. So the opposite's happening here.
Yeah. But you could...
And the same people are signing petitions. 22,000 people signed a petition to ban Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, which is
stupid.
Which is dumb. Like, it's not Rotten Tomatoes' fault. They just assemble the reviews.
Right.
But you also have to understand, like, people have to understand how those barometers work. And so if you read through a lot of those reviews, it's a lot of, like, it was fine. It's a movie.
Yeah.
Here's 3. It's like a 3 out of 5 star movie, or it's 2.5 out of 4 or whatever. But that lowers the score enough that it just looks like it's getting critically smashed.
You explained this to me last week. Where you're taking things that are, some of them rated on a 5-star scale, some rated on a 4-star scale, some have half stars, some don't.
Yeah.
You're taking all that and you're compressing it down to out of 100.
Right.
So you're like translating it from a multitude of different systems into one system. So it's a little flawed. It's going to always be a little flawed. It's maybe directionally accurate, but like, it is definitely flawed. What it boils down to is read the reviews from critics that you tend to agree with.
Yep.
And if they, whatever they say, take that for what it's worth, and then make your own opinion.
Yeah, I will
see it and make your own opinion.
I will say I have one critic or one company. Empire's reviews usually, Empire Magazine's reviews usually line up exactly within my taste realm. Like they're a good group of people who love all types of cinema, and they understand all types. And so if it's the artsiest of art or it's the biggest blockbuster, and they're all kind of nerdy or geeky and they have their own things in it, I trust their review. They gave this movie 4 stars.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5, which is a recommendation, obviously.
That's high
That's
praise.
really good. And they say like it's not a perfect movie, but it's fun, and that should earn the stars in of itself. If you don't leave angry, if you don't leave confused, if you don't feel like you wasted your money, that's a 4. That's a 4-star film.
Right there.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And so that was good. So if you're worried about critical reviews, but you like what Frank and I the way that we think, then check out Empire's reviews, because usually they're usually
Very
right
similar.
on the money.
Yeah. They had a good interview with Margot Robbie too.
Yes, they did. It was excellent.
On the podcast.
Yeah.
So check that out for sure. Any final thoughts? We should probably wrap this up soon.
Yeah, we've been talking for a while.
Yeah.
I feel like we missed a member of the squad. Isn't that like
I'm going to use a lookup here and take a look.
Yeah.
While I'm doing that, what else did you? Any other thoughts on any other plot points? Oh, you know what's fun actually? Sorry, I just remembered this. I wanted to mention it. The train station where the big final battle takes place in is modeled on old Penn Station.
I thought so.
The outside, anyway, the exterior was totally. I can show you side by side comparison if you want to see it. The outside was Penn Station, old Penn Station to a T. Inside, not as much, but definitely very, very similar on the outside. Identical on the outside, pretty much.
That's cool. That's really
that was
cool.
really cool. So if you're a New York person,
I was looking at it. I'm going, it doesn't look like Penn Station, but it has that same Roman Greco architecture, and I was like, maybe it's something similar to that. Oh, we didn't talk about the Flash cameo. Yeah. That was fun. That scene was directed by Zack Snyder, which was
I read that.
Yeah, which was cool.
But he
and Boomerang were not in the same scene together.
The Boomerang stuff was directed by Ayer.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the Ezra Miller stuff was directed by
and they just
Snyder,
put him in the magic of
that was
movies.
Neat. That was
really
neat.
cool.
I didn't even know it was seamless. I didn't even notice it till they.
Yeah, I really that was fun. It was cool to see him in movement, and it was nice. I liked that the Flash took out Boomerang because Captain Boomerang is a Flash villain.
Yes, that was
so cool. That was a nice little thing. And even one word of dialogue, I was like, well, yeah, that's the Flash. Mm-hmm. That was fun. Yeah, you're still not my Grant Gustin, but you know what? You don't have to be. That's okay.
Good.
Yeah,
I don't think we missed any.
Fantastic. I really liked Griggs, the crappy Bell Rev guard.
Oh,
yeah, that's a loaf.
Ike Barinholtz.
Yeah, Ike Barinholtz. He was really fun.
He was really good. That was so different for him because I'm used to him on Mindy Project.
Oh, yeah.
He's a completely different, doofy character on that show.
Yeah, he was real good. He was a lot of fun.
Totally.
Yeah, and he was a horrible person, but he was, it was fun to watch.
He was fun to watch.
He was fun to watch. Yeah, he's got good. He has good screen charisma.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He and Will Smith were really good, had good screen chemistry.
Yeah, they had really good.
I would love a buddy cop movie with the two of them.
Oh my god, yeah, absolutely.
I would totally watch that.
I would watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I really like Will Smith. So people are always down on Will Smith, but I'm like, he's a good actor, and he seems like a nice person. His interview with Fallon is so funny.
Oh, with the multiple entrances and everything.
But I was talking when he's talking about seeing the Batmobile for the first time on set.
Oh,
and,
yes.
That's so funny, so funny. Loved it.
Good.
Anyway, so we got a message a little while back from the guys over at Hall of Geeks, which is a podcast that we checked out, which was fun. It was good. It's very different, very different than us. They do kind of a across the news kind of thing, and they don't care what they say or who they offend, which can be fun.
It's a good listen.
Yeah.
So thanks to those guys for writing to us and check them out.
Yeah,
definitely worth a listen.
And so I think that about wraps it up. So you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and our website at Beer with Geeks, and you can email us at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. You can rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Satchel, Google Play, and all the other podcast places, and
all the great apps.
Yeah. Okay, well, and then so until next time, cheers.